Boom, baby. Here we go again. Happy Saturday to everyone, and I hope you are having a great Saturday and a great weekend so far. My name is Don Terrell, and I want to welcome you to another great episode of The Color of Motion, where I like to say stories come in all shades. And I highlight people of color in diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics. This space that I love so much. You know the drill. Make sure you jump in, say hey, where you're tuning in from. I want to see some engagement, show some love for my next guest. I've been looking forward to this for a while now. Super, super excited, and I hope you are as well. Miss Brianna Odom, appreciate you tuning in and checking out the show, supporting your girl there. Black women animator. This got to be Deborah. Deborah, I appreciate you tuning in and joining us for the episode as well. Super, super, like I said, looking forward to it. Make sure that you give ECAM permission to pull your information. Sometimes, it just comes over Facebook user or LinkedIn user. So in order for me to give you the props that you so richly deserve, jump on over ecam.com/connect. That'll give them permission to pull your name and avatar over. Also, make sure that you hop on over to our Facebook group community, get plugged in, join the group. It is massively growing, and I definitely don't want you to miss out on any of the industry news that we share, the great fun and conversations that we have over there. So hop on over there as well and join us. What else? Like I said, I'm super excited, super glad everybody's joining the show. Like I said, also, connect with me on all my social channels here. You can find me. Definitely want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts on the show, what you might want to see, any guests that you may want me to have on. Definitely be working out to get that done for you. But we got some super excited things planned for The Color of Motion Season 2. Some big news. Looking forward to sharing this week as well. Like I said, we broadcast live each and every Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, live to LinkedIn, YouTube, and the Facebook groups and pages. But I always kind of highly suggest people hop on over to the YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the bell notification, comment, give a thumbs up so you don't miss out on any great content that gets put up on the channel. Plus, you'll be able to check out all the other past great guests that I've had on the show so far. And like I said, it is growing. I just mentioned we got some big news that I'm looking forward to sharing this week with, the website going up, sponsorships as well. But if you're one of those ones that would like to support the channel and the show, hey, I love a great cup of coffee. buymeacoffee.com/Don Terrell. You can donate. That will definitely help me to continue to level up the show, bring great guests on, and just put great content on the channel as well. So, like I said, this has been a fun season 2 so far. I'd like to give a big shout out, of course, to our sponsor for today's show, DG Graphics. They do great graphics, overlays, animations. They do that for the show. If you're a business or brand looking to level up your brand design, you definitely want to reach out to them. Or if you're looking to start a live stream channel, they can help make you look good, help produce it for you. So thank you to DG Graphics for sponsoring this week's episode. Like I said, I've been so looking forward to this episode. My next guest, she's definitely got a great personality, quintessential New Yorker. I think it just tells it to you straight. So that's why I love and been looking forward to having her on the show. Simply Robotics. Looking forward to getting you on as well. Hello, everyone. And Deborah, she says, hey, for sure. So, what else? I think I got all the housekeeping stuff pretty much out the way. Like I said, I think we can dive into this week's episode. Like I said, I hope you enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying bringing it to you. My next guest graduated with a master's in integrated marketing and media from the University of Hartford. Then went on to partner in a PR firm for 10 years before starting Diverse Toons with her childhood best friend. In 2018, after hearing the stories from the audience in the Black in Animation panel at Blerd City Con, she decided more panels had to have had to happen, and these conversations needed to take place. If we didn't call out the lack of diversity within these studios, nothing would change. Thus, Diverse Toons was born. And like I said, this is the big mission as well for Color of Motion, to really call out and have these conversations that we need to have. Everybody, please help me welcome my very special guest and friend, Miss Jade Seaberry.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello. We got some great engagement. Oh, man. Miss Salve, appreciate you tuning in. Salve Black. Deborah says, hey, back. Simply Robotics.
Yes, we love Deborah. Deborah's been our supporter from day one.
Deborah's another. What I like about Deborah is she's another just no nonsense, straight person. Tell it like it is.
Tell it like it is. Yes.
And I like that. I love that in a person. So she was a blast having on the show, and definitely.
Yes, your May 7th show with her was great.
Yes, definitely looking forward to having her back on. Jade, how are you?
I'm great.
Awesome. Well, like I said, been super looking forward to this episode, sitting down, having a conversation with you. I know Erin, just like I said, she was the one that connected us. She's another one that just is another strength. I think I need to have all of y'all on.
On at once? I don't know if you can handle that.
I was telling somebody last week that I'm thinking of doing like a Color of Motion after hours with a little more.
Oh, that would be hot. That would be hot.
So I know
after dark.
After dark. So I know all three of you girls would bring some serious heat for sure.
Yes.
Oh my God. Miss Brianna, of course, said hello. Mr. Azaro Necra 020. Hey Don, it's Asia. Appreciate you. She was another great guest. Looking forward to this interview. I think a lot of people have been looking forward to this interview for sure. And like I said, I've been super excited to just sit down and dive in to your journey, what you're doing with Diverse Toons, and just the whole conversation about diversity or the lack thereof, and having these important discussions that I like to say a lot of people kind of tend to dance around or just not have altogether.
Oh, well, you don't get that from me, so it's okay. It's okay. Let's go.
And that's why I say I know the after dark would be just off the chain.
It would be cut. Yeah.
Well, I want to start, like, growing up, what were some of your passions growing up? Like I said, you're the quintessential, it seems like, New Yorker.
Yeah.
For you, what was it like growing up?
Well, growing up, I was a music major. I thought I was gonna be like Broadway's next big thing. My idol was Whitney Houston, so I was a music major growing up. So I went to all performing arts schools. So, like I said, I was always the music major, and Monique was the art major. So that's how we ended up going to school, together. So junior high, high school, like that's why we were always in school together. So I was always in the music program and she was always in the art program.
So okay. So what switched it to where you got your master's in marketing and media?
So I had to come to Jesus in high school, my junior year. I said, okay, am I really going to be, the next big, Broadway superstar? I was like, I think not. So I was like, well, what do I, do best? I said, well, I'm yearbook committee. I put on the fashion shows. I'm in the school plays. I'm in 5 other organizations. I started I'm head of the junior class committee. I'm also in the Archon Honor Society. So I said, well, I wear all these hats and then I'm also planning 5 other events, at school. So I said, everybody comes to me when they need something planned. So I said, okay, event planning is great, but I said I have to do research. I can't just go to school for event planning. I said I need something else. So in my research, I said communications and public relations. And so I just typed in what's the top school for communications, and University of Hartford was the first thing that popped up. And then it just so happens you didn't have to write an essay, you didn't have to do anything. So I said, oh, that's amazing. And so I was like, okay, let me apply. So I applied my junior year. I got early acceptance. I went and visited the campus. Me and my mother fell in love with the campus. And we were just like, okay. And it was between that and Johnson and Wales, because Johnson and Wales also had an amazing business program.
Mhm.
And I always had this dream of, oh, I watched Emerald since I was like 5 years old, and I always had this dream of me being a chef. And so Johnson and Wales had a business program and they also had the culinary program. So I said, man, that'd be great to do. And so I was like, okay, because if I can also plan events and then also be my own caterer, that'd be amazing. I was like, that'd be another feather in my hat.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, University of Hartford and Johnson and Wales. So I applied, I got in, but University of Hartford gave me more money. So I said, well, I'm not no fool. So I said, well,
See what I mean?
they gave me
Everybody,
more
the
money
quintessential.
and I fell in love with the campus. I said, okay, well, it's University of Hartford it is. So
Oh man. So what do you feel like? I mean, in your time before, and we're going to get into you starting Diverse Toons, but in your time of marketing and PR, what do you feel like has been your biggest thing that you've kind of pulled from that or learned, or your time in marketing and PR? Obviously, it's helped you
in
with Diverse
school
Toons.
or actually like working as a publicist?
Actually working as a publicist.
Okay. So, I mean, the biggest takeaway I got from it was you can do everything right and everything can still go haywire,
Yeah.
because the factor is you can't account for humans. You can't account for clients and the chaos of just life in general.
Yeah.
So I've planned, $1 million events and, launches and, shows, but at the end of the day, something can always go wrong at the so you
Yeah.
always have to have a B, C, D, E
Yeah.
always. I don't care what happens. So, but I think the most satisfying project I've ever worked on was we did a New York Times best-selling play for
Hmm.
the New York Times Festival. No, not many people know this, but every year, New York Times has a play. They have a play circuit, so you can apply for a $10,000 grant, and they have the plays that they want you either to you can produce your own play. And so we submitted a play called Sister's Keeper, and about 7 years ago, we it was selected, and so we won, and they give you either three theaters to choose from that you can put on your play, and it has a week long run. And so you have to fill up the house seats, you have to sell tickets, you have to find your artists, you have to do all of that in 2 months.
Wow.
And so you have to basically produce everything soup to nuts, your own play, and all they're giving you, all they're providing you is the theater,
Yeah.
and you have to do everything else yourself. So we did casting, we did everything. We got a Grammy Award winning writer to write the songs, because it was a musical.
Wow.
And we got all of the actors. We had rehearsals every single day leading up to the play, because in 2 months it's like you have to.
Wow.
And it was the most amazing production I've ever produced ever. And it was heart and soul, because we wrote the script, we did everything, and I loved it.
Well,
It was fantastic. It
it
was
it seems like you have
amazing.
a lot of skills and talent for producing. You know.
Oh yeah. That was my pride and joy, because I actually like put everything I had into it. That was like the only thing I've actually like worked on myself. Everything
Uh-huh.
else I produced, all of the other indie projects, were projects we just came in just to produce. It wasn't, it wasn't ours.
Yeah, was
So
it your
that was
own
like
baby?
actually ours.
Awesome. Well, obviously, I think all these skills and things that you've done really does kind of prepare you and give you the skills and tools to do what you're doing now,
Yeah.
especially with Diverse Tunes. Um, I want to dive into initially what kind of sparked the interest. I mean, you didn't have a. I mean, was your obviously somewhere in there? Did you have kind of a liking for animation, cartoons, and that,
I mean,
or
I've always watched animation, but it wasn't like, oh, this is like a dying passion of mine. No, I just happened to get a call one day from Monique saying, "Oh, I'm hosting this panel," and I was like, You hosted a panel?" She was like, "Exactly." She was like, "I'm nervous," and she was like, "I need you to come, you know, sit in the audience so I can have something to focus on." And I was like, "Oh, okay." She was like, "Next Saturday," and I was like, "Oh, okay, I got you." And then she said, "Come sit in the audience." And I was like, "Okay, so just focus on me. If you get nervous, just focus on me and it'll be okay." And then she was like, "Blerd City Con." I was like, "I've never even heard of Blerd City Con. What is Blerd City Con?" So she was like, "It's like the Black Comic Con." I was like, "Oh, that sounds cute." And then I said, "Oh, okay." I was like, "That should be nice." And then she was like, "Yeah." So I went, I sat in the audience, and then everyone in the Q&A just started telling all of these stories about how hard it was in their studios and in schools, and just all of these stories.
Yeah,
And I was just like, is it really this bad? Like, I've never heard anything like this in my life.
yeah,
And I mean, I know it's bad in communications, but just for women in general,
yeah,
but I've never heard stories like this before in my life. And
yeah,
I was like, it's this bad? I was like, no, something has to be done. And my mother always used to tell me growing up, like, I always root for the underdog, and I always like take people under my wing and things like that. But no, I've never heard things like this in my life. And I was like, no, something has to be done. So we went out to eat, and we had to walk far. I don't know. Somebody just picked a random restaurant we saw. And then we were walking like 2 miles to this restaurant. I was like, okay, who in the world picked this place? But I guess everything around the area was, full. So we just were walking to a restaurant, and I'm like, guys, do you guys just understand what we witnessed just now and there? Like, that was magic. And we had a room full of people, but they all had similar stories. That means that this is not just happening to them. This is a real serious issue. And so I was just like, no, something has to be done. These conversations need to continue to enact change.
Yeah.
I said, that's the first start about how you enact change. You talk about it and you keep talking about it. And that's how you make changes happen.
Yeah.
And so I was like, so when everybody was eating at the table, I said, well, you guys be down to keep having these panels and like do something about this. And I was like, this is how, this is how it starts. This is how it starts right here, right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And they all said they all agreed. And then so when me and Monique were on our way back to Queens on the subway, I said, no, are you serious? Like, do you want to start something? Like, because I'm dead serious. I was like, I wouldn't say it unless I was serious. And she was like, yeah, I'm down. So I called her the next day and I was like, no, are you still down? Are you sure?
You sure
And
you
then
down for this?
I had already started a logo the next day. And then the next week, I said, okay, we're going to come back in a week with a list of 5 names, and then we're going to choose the name. So we met up on Jamaica Avenue the next week, and we had our names. And then I said, okay, I don't like this. She said, I don't like that. And then I was like, bam, here we go. We got it. And then I got all of the social media handles. And then we finished the logo. And then, well, she finished what I did because, I'm not an artist. And then, yep, that was it.
I hope you guys are. I hope everybody's picking up this determination spirit that she's putting out there. That's how you get things done. I'm kind of curious because I have this kind of internal dialogue with myself. Doing the show, and when I started putting this show together, do you find that it's hard really getting especially the artists, animators, and people that are really deep in the industry,
Mhm.
having an honest conversation about what's going on, for fear they might say something about their studio or feel like they're
See,
coming
it's
off that way.
actually not that hard getting them to say something. They they'll say it, but then they'll ask me later, am I gonna post it? That's if anything, that's what'll happen. They'll say, "Oh, this was a great panel." Then they'll say, "Oh, well, you were taping the whole thing, right? So are you going to post it?"
Well, what's
Because
the
you have
point
to
of doing a
remember,
panel?
before the pandemic, we were just in rooms with like
Yeah,
100 people. So we didn't have to worry about, oh, this is gonna be on the internet for forever. Yeah, I used to be in the front row taping everything because I tape everything. I'm paparazzi. I'll tape everything and for posterity. But we were just in rooms at colleges at SVA or at Columbia or at NYU or whatever
yeah,
panel we were doing. But we were in small rooms of, well, at first it used to only be like 30 people.
yeah,
But before pandemic, we were up to like 150.
yeah.
So yeah, we were in rooms in in New York at whatever location, with 150 people. So you didn't really have to worry about people hearing what we said. So,
So it was just for the people in
it
the
was just for
room.
us in that room, exactly. And people used to be like, "Oh, I wish we were in New York," because we were the only ones in New York.
Yeah,
Everybody else is in California.
yeah, yeah.
So,
But if you're having these, if the goal is to have these open conversations, and especially to get these studios to listen to these open conversations, I would feel like people would naturally think that it's going to be out there for people to see and
yeah.
digest, and really the people that need to be hearing and seeing it.
Yeah, because what I would do is I would cut main parts of it and I would call them like the little gems, and
Yeah,
I would splice it up and I would put like, oh, an integral part of the conversation, and then I would put that on social media, and then it would get like 20,000 hits
yeah,
or whatever,
yeah,
and people would just keep sharing it and sharing it and sharing it.
yeah.
So that's how people got to know us everywhere, and then people were like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." Like the pandemic was the best thing that happened because then we started having panels for everyone everywhere, and then
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we already had followers all over the world.
yeah, Yeah.
So then it was just like, oh, when the pandemic hit and we became virtual, it was everybody was just like, oh, they got to see our panels that we always had, but now it was everywhere. So
So was there any one specific you don't have to say who it was, but was there any one specific
yeah, I'll just
story that
I
stuck
know what
out
you're
with
going.
you?
Yes, it was really only one or two instances where that happened, where they were like, "Oh, I maybe got a little too raw, maybe got a little too real," and yeah, it was. I want to say it was only one or two instances where that happened.
Um, but but I mean, like I said, I think like what I was just saying before, I think that's the problem that a lot of people have, where you're not really r- wanting to sit down and have these kind of open discussions. And I would always say, I think that would probably be the best thing for studios to do, even if it's internally, having a open forum with all their employees and the executives and their employees sitting down and having an open forum, really talking about the day-to-day things and issues that they may be feeling and going through, um, would be probably the best thing for them.
But that's the problem with us going. Okay, you see, a lot of organizations have partnerships with studios.
Yeah,
Now, would they ever come to Diverse Toons with studio to Diverse Toons to partner up? Probably not, because we have bashed them in a lot of our panels. Well, not we, but our panelists have bashed them in a lot of our panels, talking about practices, talking about them going to them with certain issues and them being ignored, talking about, a whole
yeah,
host of issues, talking about their DEI, failings
yeah,
with
yeah,
DEI trainings and things of that nature.
yeah.
We've had a whole host of issues discussed on our panels and them being bashed,
And,
so
and
I highly doubt
I
we
do
would ever
too.
have a partnership with a studio.
And that's a shame
I mean,
because,
I
like
would
it's,
love for it to
yeah,
happen,
and
but I just highly doubt that that would ever be the case. I would
yeah,
love for it to happen because I want to enact change,
yeah, yeah,
but I would love to partner with Disney or Netflix or a
yeah,
whole host of studios,
yeah.
but I just don't see that happening in the near future. But
Okay, so in that, with that respect, then, when George Floyd's murder happened and all the unrest started, going on around the country, and all of a sudden you saw this influx of studios posting this, posting that, and
yes.
this and that. Did you feel like it was an honest outreach on their part? I mean, because I know how, like I said, my thought was, and you don't know in each individual studio, but for me, I thought, man, this a lot of this just seems like they're trying to get ahead of this PR type of thing, and
Yes.
get ahead so they're
Well,
not
see, I see
labeled.
a lot of things with a slanted view because I've been taught all of this stuff in PR and advertising classes. So I kind of know the
Yeah,
spin of things. So, I mean, I can't even look at a basic commercial without like looking at the PR spin on it and the advertising angle to things. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say it wasn't genuine. I'm going to say that they probably had to reevaluate who their advertising and PR teams were. And I'm going to say that they hired differently. And
yeah,
I'm going to say that was the first thing that their PR person told them to do.
yeah,
So I'm going to say that they had good advice.
yeah.
I'll say that. I'll
Well,
say they had good advice from a PR team that said, this is what you should do.
yeah,
And I'm going to also say that that's why I heard from a lot of individuals that got offered jobs and that those jobs did not follow through because when you get advice you listen to it to a certain extent.
yeah,
So yeah, they started, oh my god, we have to hire all of these new diversity hires to fit a certain quota. But then they started looking like, man, what are we doing? We're spending a lot of money.
yeah.
And then their accounting department probably was like, what in the world? And then they probably got counter advice and decided to go with the counter advice. So, yeah, I mean,
But I
you
guess I'm
know,
not understanding as far as from a company's perspective and point of view that okay, if and this is nothing new that people have been crying for, diverse stories, diverse
diversity,
characters, diverse writers and producers, and executive people like that. It's nothing new that we've been
nothing.
doing. So I find it interesting, and find it kind of hard to grasp that that's not something that they would want to do, and I get that, a lot of, especially a lot of the companies that have been around for 40, 50, 60 years, in a time, starting at a time when they weren't trying to hire anybody of color or anything like that, really finding it hard for them to make the change because they've been doing things for so long. But I would figure if you're a company that's really wanting to practice diversity, to practice, being more inclusive, especially when people are really tired of seeing the same type of stories, same type of things, that you would go out of your way to really make an honest effort to do it, and make that happen. But like I said, and maybe it was just the fact that all of them seemed to start doing it at the same time, that it
Exactly.
was like, man, it's just like you said, it's this PR kind of spin where they're just trying to get ahead and not feel like they're going to get labeled as a company that's not diverse or not practicing diversity. As um, well, first off, kind of give us a little, you know, synopsis of what Diverse Toons is, and we're going to see. Well, before you do that, let's take a look at a little trailer for Diverse Toons, kind of give you a feel for what it is, and then you can come back and kind of fill in the blanks of about where you're wanting to take Diverse Toons, and the whole path of it. All right. So that gives you a kind of a little synopsis of what Diverse Tunes is all about, but kind of fill in the blanks, Jade, of your intention, you and your partner's intentions of really having these serious conversations and really hard conversations. Like I said,
Well, basically, we started off as a traveling panel series, and but now we've created more of like where we want to be a resource for BIPOC creatives, and so now we've opened up to being just a resource, an open resource for all creatives. So
yeah,
now we have our panels at Comic-Con, and now we have our licensing programs with Toon Boom, where we're giving out licenses to the animation program at the High School of Art and Design. And I have so many other programs that I want to implement in the
yeah.
future. So, we are turning 4 in July, and the sky's the limit from here. I have so many things that, I want to implement in the future.
Yeah, yeah. Now, everybody that's just jumping on, you've gotten, and a lot of people already know you, so they know your personality and they know your flavor. But again, do you find a little resistance when you reach out to, animators, people to be on the panel, um, having these, like I said, serious, really hard conversations talking about the practices that may be going on in their studio, but not necessarily in their studio, but just in general in the industry. Are you finding a little resistance that they're afraid, like I said, that some kind of repercussion may come back on them as far as their where they're working at and just the studio they're working for?
Not so much anymore. I don't know if it's just because so much has happened in the world that people just don't care anymore. So I think it's just now people have like lighter energy. They just are fed up maybe with what is what is transpiring in our country.
Yeah.
So I haven't had too many, oh, let's edit that, or let's, not say that, or let me take a deep breath before I answer that at panels. I don't see people thinking more before they
What they
answer a
say.
question, I
Now,
guess.
now, on the flip side, have you had that same kind of openness to getting executives, really high level executives at the company, from whatever studio or company coming on, having those same kind of conversations?
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I haven't reached out to high level executives because of the fact that we bash so many companies. Like, not bash, but we speak in a more negative light about companies. And I feel like if I have executives, then the employees that work at these companies wouldn't feel as, free to talk about the companies as they do.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? I've been thinking more about reaching out to executives and being like, let me just have an all executive panel
And
and, having them respond to what other people have said,
yeah,
because I
yeah.
feel like it should be a balance.
It
And
definitely
we
should.
haven't had that.
It definitely
And I feel
should.
like we should, give them the right to speak up for their company.
Well, and like I said, it's not because I have this same challenge because I'm trying to get not only the creators on, but get higher level executives on because that is where a lot of the change is going to come from. Them being aware of just the concerns, the thoughts of what's going on, as opposed to trying to put a little PR spin on it. And I always
Yeah.
say, it's not, I and I've spoken about this company and that company and this and that, but it's not something that's isolated to say Disney or to say Warner or anybody else. Every company, every industry is, and it's not even just the animation. And you can go to any industry and they're having some kind of issue with diversity and hiring people, more BIPOC people, because it's just the nature of this kind of country that we live in.
Exactly.
But I would figure that they would want to come on. I would figure, but again, there. I also get that
I
there's.
mean, no, I would, in our defense, we have had the fabulous AJ Cohen, and she's like our mini,
Yeah,
silent
yeah,
advisor in the back. But it was after she left Blue Sky. I would have loved to have her when she was still there,
yeah,
but it was after she left Blue Sky, and she was also, a big honcho at Fox too.
yeah,
But she has been, our mini advisor, and she has kind of been like the one like giving us advice when we need it and things of that. She's been like our like mother hen.
yeah, yeah.
So she's amazing.
And it's funny because, and I want everybody that's in the audience, please jump on, comment, because I definitely want, this is really the kind of the serious conversations that I do want to have with a lot more guests, and like I said, is the crux of the color of motion, really talking about the need for diversity and the things that are going on. But I found it interesting when I, you know, got Jay Francis on, and great guest, great guy, head of diversity and inclusion at Disney. But he had to go through that whole Disney chain, and my thought was, God, isn't this what your position is, to talk about
Right?
diversity
Like,
and
wait,
inclusion and what's going on? And that's what
yeah,
I said. It feels like even getting them on there, they have to go through this. Well, what are we going to say? What are you going to talk about? Because we don't want you putting this spin on Disney per se, or Warner per se, or this or that. But it's like you want to say to them, but that's the whole point of the conversation, having
that's
these
the
hard
thing too
conversations.
about high level executives. They have to okay everything, and we don't do that. We like to we we like the conversation to just flow, and anything could come out your mouth, and
And that's
like,
why I appreciate guests like you, like
yeah,
Deborah, um, Andre Rodriguez was
yeah,
another one. Just those type of people. Like I said, they're super talented, but they're true to who they are, regardless of where they're at and what they're doing. And like I said, I feel like those are the conversations that really higher level people in the company need to be having those kind of direct conversations with.
that's the thing. You might not ever get that from a high level exec because they have to toe the company line, and we don't believe in in lines, so
You heard that from here. They don't believe in lies,
we don't
people.
believe in lines.
For sure.
You have to be able to say what you need to say.
Oh man. But I feel like I said, what you're doing, what Diverse Toons is doing, and now expanding out with other creators. And it's funny. And I'll ask you this: do you feel like a majority? Because I was thinking this because I was talking with owner of another marketing company, and she was saying that she wanted to hire more people of color and diverse
Mhm.
people, but she didn't know where to find them. And I'm thinking to myself,
I
okay,
can give
there's.
you five different organizations that has five different databases. Rise Up Animation has a database.
And I was thinking to
Ava
myself,
DuVernay has a
yeah,
database of animators, artists, everything. Um, Women in Animation has a database.
there's so much
Um,
information out there. That's what
yeah,
I found it
I
hard.
can give you about seven organization has a database. I think Latinx Animation is creating a database right
Right
now,
now,
and they
yeah,
have 10,000 members. Yeah, I don't. That's not an excuse. That's not a
yeah.
good one anyway.
And do you feel like that's kind of the thing? They just don't take
You
the
just got me
effort.
mad with that. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Hey,
You just
I
got me
didn't say
mad.
it, but
You
my
just got me
thought
mad
was,
with that. Tell me you
my
can't
thought
find
was,
people.
I mean, I'm like, and I wanted to say to her, hell, I've connected with just on LinkedIn,
Wait a
so many
minute.
talented people. Do you feel like
Ooh.
that's a big excuse that's their use? They don't put forth the effort to
That's the
really
biggest
go out.
excuse I've ever heard. I mean, we have we wait. We have people that contact us every week for jobs and things like that, and I do the emails, to the different people with databases, and I also put up the job alerts on our LinkedIn, on our Facebook, on our Instagram, on all of our platforms. I'm so flustered by this. That just pissed me off. But yeah, I mean, everybody has a database. That's why we're not creating a database, because we just refer you to our other,
People, yeah,
sister and
people
brother
that you.
organizations. But yeah, everybody either has a database or is creating a database. I mean, there are so many different databases out there.
Oh,
Ava
yeah.
DuVernay has a database on everybody that's worked on all of her shows. Rise Up Animation has a database on, because they have their portfolio program. So everybody on that database is a member that they've actually reviewed their portfolio
Yeah.
and think these people are up to par. And so either it's a storyboard artist and any number of
Yeah.
people in the animation industry
Yeah.
that they've reviewed their portfolio and they feel like this person is ready to work right now,
Yeah.
and they put in their database.
Yeah.
So, and then Women in Animation with their 10,000 members, they have their own database.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Rise Up Animation is just BIPOC artists. Women in Animation is just women, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else has a database. There are like 5 other organizations I can't
Yeah.
think of
There's,
right
like
now.
I
So
said,
that
there's.
question just flustered me, and I'm just like, are you serious? You don't know where to find them. Like, okay, next question, because I can't. That just like irritated me.
As you can see, everybody that's just tuning in, I seem to
Irritated me.
have flustered
Like,
my
what?
guess with my last statement there. But yeah, that was, trust me, I felt the same way because I was like,
Like, what?
what? There's the internet. You can connect and find people anywhere if you just
Yeah,
put
but
forth the effort. Like Deborah
there are
said,
like 10 diversity organizations that you could have reached out to too. But okay.
like Deborah
Okay.
said, in the age of Google and social media,
Right?
I don't know.
Okay. But okay. Oh Lord.
I'm the, I hey I'm like, I feel the same way for sure. Oh man, we're already having we're only like 40 minutes in and we're having a blast, everybody,
Like,
for
Jesus,
sure.
take the wheel. Wow. Okay. She said, I can't
Well,
find
okay, like I said, everything kind of kicked off, in 2020, that around that time. We're now 2 years, past 2, 3 years past George Floyd's unrest and everything. Do you feel like, and I always say studios, all of them still have a long way to go, but
Oh,
do you
yes.
feel like there are, some that are doing better than others, or do you feel like there's still just so much more that can be done?
I would say looking at the last diversity report, I thought some were doing better than others, but I guess not. I guess not as much as I thought that they were doing, and um
So does
it's
it
just
really come back to PR, just public relations, and them really trying to put a face that we
yeah.
don't want to
I
be labeled as non-diversity, and so we'll put out
I
our
think
numbers and stuff.
I think that's what it started off originally, but then it spun out. Like, I thought it was originally supposed to be, oh, we don't want to be seen as, oh, we're just this all white studio with just a little bit, BIPOC artists here and there. And so we're going to put out, oh, we're looking for more diverse hires. And then we're going to hire a bunch of diverse hires. And then some of them followed through.
Yeah.
They hired a little bit more color just to look like, oh, we got some, brown sugar in our coffee, brown sugar in our milk. But that didn't work out too well. And, then some of them, hired,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
fired a couple months later,
Yeah. Yeah.
which that was like devastating to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then some of them just didn't follow through with the
Follow through.
offers at all,
Yeah.
which I heard about. And
Yeah.
so that just sucked for a lot of people
Yeah.
because they feel like, oh, I have a new job in the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks later, oh, they didn't even follow through with the offer,
Wow.
which
Wow.
is horrible.
And to
So
that
yeah, it was just supposed to be a PR spin, I think. It's
Yeah.
for a lot of them anyway. So
Well, having said that, do you feel like, because I feel this way, that a big part of the change is going to come from those independent creators that are creating their own content, and
Yep.
now we see that, or we realize that we have so much more power, especially in this age of social media, where we're able to get our own content, be our own distributing company, and really be more global.
Yes, I have talked to a studio out in Africa, and I watched their series that's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And yeah, just a lot of people are doing it themselves. You have to, and getting their own distribution deals. And that's the way you have to do it. You have to create your own content. You have to just, it's so many different streaming platforms now. It's
Yeah.
so many ways to get your content to the people. If you have to do Tubi, if you have to do Plex, if you have to do Roku, if you have to, whatever you have to do,
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to do it yourself
Yeah.
because I mean, it's just crazy out here, but
Yeah.
it's just it's
But
not you don't have to go the mainstream route.
yeah, and I always say that as well to young artists or this and that. I'm like, you don't have to be trying to bang on the door at Disney now because you've got all these channels at
All
your
of them.
fingertips that you could be putting out your content and getting a much wider berth and of exposure, so that hey, you get big enough, they're going to start coming to you anyway. Like I said, to that
Exactly.
point. So this is, I think, such a great time for content creators moving forward. I mean, right now, what are some of the, well, you said you're not an animation buff or a cartoon buff, but what are some of
No,
the
I
things?
love them.
Oh, okay.
I
So
love
what
them.
are,
Right now, I've been watching well, cuz City of Ghosts was on my list for like forever.
yeah.
And so I was like I have to finally get, into that and binge that. But what else have I been watching? Um I watched I don't know, I've been watching a lot of stuff on Netflix lately. I know
Yeah,
Netflix is
Netflix
like
is yeah, Netflix is
taboo right now.
yeah. I love Netflix. I think,
But
like I said,
yeah.
I always say Netflix is probably one of those one studios that is a little more ahead of the other ones as far as the content that they put out
Yeah.
and their willingness to put that content out there, just in their characters. But like I said, some of the ones that are coming out there, I think um, Pixar's Red was
Yes.
kind of like, they call it watershed one because it was all women production
Yes.
company that, or production
And you
head
can
that did it.
tell it was good.
Yeah. Yes. Drennan, new season of Love, Death, and Robots is out now
Yeah.
on Netflix. I still am partial to season one, but I love the fact that they brought the three robots back. So I
Hmm.
think, like I said, Netflix is one of those ones that is a little ahead of the curve than I think most other studios. And
Yeah.
like I said, of course, they're newer, so they're not kind of set in their ways like, say, Disney or Warner or some of the ones that
Yeah.
have been around for ages and ages and ages,
That's
um,
true.
for sure. Um, let's take a little turn. Tell us about, because you got to just did a project, urban crime thriller, Respect the Jux. Tell
It's
us a
funny
little bit
because
about that.
it was not just done. It was done 9 years ago
Oh, okay.
because I'm definitely yeah. I hung up my producer hat a while ago, but
Oh,
it just got a distribution deal. So you know how they say, "Oh, never give up on those indie projects
yeah,
because you never
yeah,
know when it might." Yeah, it
yeah.
just got a distribution deal. So respect the jokes, and so you can stream it everywhere. So that's why I said you can put it on anything. Like
Yeah.
get a distribution deal. Just go in, pitch, get a distribution deal, and yeah,
So were you
we were.
continually were you, even though it was done 9 years ago, were you continually trying to get it a deal? Obviously.
Well, I wasn't, but the director, he never gave up. He was, this was his baby because it was based on his New York Times best-selling book.
Mm.
So it's his life story. So he was, riding for this until the wheels fall off. So he was like, I'm gonna get this done. And so I believed in him, we believed in him, and he definitely got it done. So you can stream it anywhere. I bought it on Amazon Prime. So
Okay.
yeah, you can Amazon Prime, Voodoo, all of that.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Apple, Google Play,
Yep,
HBO Max, Prime
exactly.
Videos, et cetera, et cetera. Like she said, there are so many platforms out there to get your content out there. And I think you just made a prime example. When it's your baby and you're passionate about it, you'll find a way to continue to get it out there for
Exactly.
people to see. Let's throw a few things on there, Miss Drennan. Miss Drennan, damn, I'm not sure what
Dre.
you, Dre. I'm
That's
not sure.
Dre.
That Andre,
Yep.
Andre, change your name, man, so I know who it is. That's what I said. Andre is another one. We had a great time on our interview. He's a fun guy. Andre, I'm looking to get you back on, brother, because it was just fun. It's Dre play. That's what I say. I'm gonna have color motion after dark, and definitely you're one of the ones that I gotta have on it for sure. Um, and it's hard to believe, like you said, you kind of hung up your production hat because it seems like you got a flair for producing. You know.
It's just it's a lot. That on this particular project though, it's funny because I learned script editing. So I was like actually in the office revising the script, doing all of that. It was a journey. It was funny because that winter on the first house we were shooting in, the pipes burst. So we had to do reshoots in another house. We were the Lamborghinis and everything in that film. Something happened with the first set of cars. So then we had to get a new Lamborghini. It was yeah, the shootout scene at that hotel. I think we had to get another hotel because the pipes burst in there. That winter was like a crazy winter in New York. So you'll see the scenes like if you know New York, like you'll see the scenes in Queens and Brooklyn and recognize them, and the Bronx and everything else.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool if you like know New York, like you'll recognize like the different scenes where we shot at and things like that. It's really interesting. It's a really a ode to New York. If you're a New Yorker or you know New York, and it's like a love letter to New York in a way.
You'll get the flavor of it. It's
Yes.
adrenaline. Yeah, it seems like Jade gets it done. So, like I said, I'm super glad I got connected with her. She's a go getter for sure.
Yeah.
Whenever it's clever, for sure, I'm going to be reaching out to you as well. And I wanted kind of to ask you because you had mentioned a few of these earlier about just scholarships and thing money that's available because I've had this conversation um, with creators in other country like Africa, and just had this conversation with a friend of mine that has a studio in Mexico. The
Oh,
government not
okay.
really, yeah, not getting gonna be on next week. With and actually I met him through Lixa, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, just great guy, super fun guy, man.
I love
But
Mexico.
yeah, but just we were talking about just the government not really funding and having funds available for these type of programs in the industry. Do you
Yeah.
feel like we're in a much better position because over here in this country it's not something that we tend to kind of think about because there's so many programs, there's so many grants, there's so many ways of getting funding for whatever project that you're working on.
I
And
think
tax incentives was another big thing that he was talking about.
what incentives?
Tax incentives.
Um, I think okay because we're an educational foundation. We're not a 501c3. So I think yes, there are different incentives for certain people. There can be a lot more because for the arts in general, there should be a lot more programs. There should be just for kids
Yeah,
because at the High School of Art and Sciences, they have their animation program. Those are the kids that are part of the Options NYC program.
yeah,
So they do animations, they do comic books, that's in the Bronx. So they can do comic books, they can do their own, they have, they do VFX, they create their own animations, they do it all at that high school. But I asked one of the kids, what do what are your plans for college? You're a junior in, high school. She says she never imagined herself going to college.
Really?
She just never saw beyond high school.
Wow.
And I said, you're a junior, that's okay. But now that you're a junior, you're graduating, you're about to be in your senior year, I want you to start thinking about it. I just want you to imagine it.
Yeah.
I just want you to imagine yourself in college. And I want you to start applying to where you never in your wildest dreams thought you could go. Because you're talented. And I
Yeah.
said, I want you to start getting your portfolio together because you're an animation student. So your portfolio is what matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, it's just, it pains me because I feel like a lot of kids, especially kids that are thriving in this pandemic,
Yeah.
when her school was out half the year because of COVID,
Yeah.
just with teachers being sick and students being sick and them having to close every other week. It's just, I feel like these kids, especially in the pandemic, they just are so set back.
Yeah.
They just can't even see it.
Yeah.
And then her surroundings, she just never thought,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, just imagine you being the first one,
Yeah.
the first one to graduate college.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even if you don't want to go to college, there's so many other paths
Yeah.
that you can take. You need to get yourself a mentor. You need to get yourself an apprenticeship, something. You need to do something.
Yeah.
So
And do you feel
that's what
like
I want her to see.
and do you feel like more needs to be done at getting to them earlier? Because like I
Yes,
said, I think if even though I was always passionate about art or, in what I was doing, there never was like somebody that came into the schools when I was in grade school
exactly.
and really showed
That's
me
why I
that
want to
this
get
was
them
something.
younger. That's why I want to get them younger. I want to get, middle school. I want to get,
Yeah.
that's, you have to. You have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Because like I said, it like you just said, it gives them the freedom to dream that there's something
Yes.
bigger than what they're doing and where they're
And it
at and
has
their
to change
surroundings.
their mindset. It has
Yeah.
to change their mindset. That's why I wanted Diverse Toon. I wanted them to see people that they imagine themselves being in the future.
Yeah.
I wanted them to know that just because of the color of their skin, they can be that person. There are
Yeah.
people that look like them in this industry.
Yeah. Yeah. That are doing it.
That's the point.
Which is like I said, the main reason why I started this because, like I said, I knew when I was young, I didn't see characters. I wanted to be a
Exactly.
cartoonist. I didn't see characters in the newspaper. I didn't see, people of color,
Yep.
cartoonists that were out there doing it. Even though I knew they were some out there doing it, those just weren't the ones that I was exposed to. And
Exactly.
so I know it inspires you that much more when you can see somebody,
Yep.
you see yourself in somebody that's doing what you want to do. So we're definitely on the same alignment of, the mission of what we're trying to do, really expose people to the talent that's out there that is doing such awesome work um,
Exactly.
with today. Um, where I mean, moving forward, where do you where are your future goals of Diverse Tunes and what like you said, you got a lot of ideas, a lot of programs of what you're wanting to uh, uh, what you're wanting to bring into fruition, scholarships and things like that. Where do you look forward? I mean, looking forward, what do you see, and what are you hoping to see for Diverse Tunes even more?
Well, I mean, there's things I want to do, and there's things that I have to be realistic because unless I have like a billionaire, somewhere in my back pocket I didn't know about,
But
gotta be
hey,
realistic and come
don't
back down to size.
always dream big, and I've learned to let myself dream big, even if you think it's not possible.
Yeah,
Allow yourself to dream. What would be that dream if it just you didn't have to think about okay millions, billions,
If
or
I didn't have to
whatever.
think about millions, oh, then I want a subscription box. I want a yearly gallery exhibit. I want with VFX artists and everything. I want. Whoo! Hey, let's do a school. Just dream bag. Let's do a
Awesome.
school.
Well, awesome.
Let's do a camp for artists and like you and creatives and everybody coming together every year and do like a whole weekend getaway where we sip mimosas and talk about our ideas, just
Yes.
you know
I am down.
and
Everybody out there, let's get down for that.
let's do it.
That
So
is
yeah,
good.
I like a little getaway retreat every year. And yeah, a studio wouldn't be too bad either. Let's do Diverse Toon Studios. That hey.
I like
And
that.
nothing too big, just like 10 little artists and animators and producers and directors. And
I,
then maybe, who knows, like a little sound stage, nothing too huge, like 20,000 square feet, nothing major, you know.
hey, I'm like I said, we're kindred spirits because that's like I said, part of the reason why, like I said, I really focus on community when I talk about the color of motion because I want it to be a community of creators that can work together, come together,
Yep,
find some semblance of the projects that they're working on because I think everybody's got their own ideas and things that they're wanting to see in fruition to fruition, but how much better would that be knowing that you built relationships with all these other
exactly.
creatives of
We
color
all
that are
come up
out there?
together. That's how it
Yeah,
should be.
yeah. Did you find, and I didn't, but it was interesting when I attended Lixa's event um, that we're all, even though we're siloed or seem to be kind of siloed in, Lixa's got their organization. There's Asian animation or women in
Mhm.
animation. That we're all talking the same kind of basic crux of the diversity issues and challenges that
Yeah,
we're different. Do you feel like it's going to take us all coming together on a certain ground level and working together? Because, like I said, we're all talking the same basic problem that we're dealing with as far as our stories, our creators, being told in a more authentic way and us getting representation out there.
well, we all there's like about 10 of us that come together every month and like talk to each other about like what we're doing and how we can help each other.
Yeah,
And Latinx animation, Rise Up animation, Asians in animation, women in animation. Who else? Am I missing anybody? Black and animated.
yeah,
So yeah, we kind of come together and talk to each other and keep up to date with each other's events and things that we're doing to see how we can help each other. So yeah, we have like a little powwow session and
yeah,
like group chat, I guess we can say. Like
yeah,
a group chat. So it's cool. It's good that we, have our little monthly powwow session
yeah.
and we're all in one alignment. And that's why we came out last year with that open call to action to to all of the studios
Yeah. What was
about
your
what we should do.
what interesting enough that you said that. What was kind of the response that you guys got back from the open call that you put out there? I mean,
Crickets, 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 crickets. See, this is why I don't want to reach out to these executives. But I'm going to. I'm going to. We'll see.
uh,
We'll see. If I
oh
don't
man,
have an executive on our panel by this time next year, you'll know why.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm
So
I'm
by Comic Con 2023, you'll know why.
I am trying. Trust me. Like I said, it,
But they might show up because it's Comic Con, so they might
yeah.
show up.
Well, I'm pretty sure a lot more of them do because they're pushing their films or whatever it is that they're doing. Now, whether they're gonna
They're
want
gonna
to,
talk openly
yeah,
about
whether they're gonna want to
diversity.
have an open discussion about diversity and really diving into it deep is another topic altogether. They'll probably say, "Let me get back with you on that,"
Yeah, exactly. Let
type
me
of
let
thing.
me let me
But
see about
I,
that.
I feel like that would, like I said, make such a big difference in not only their perspective, but just like I said, so make it so much better for the creators that are actually doing the work and really
Yeah.
producing the stuff as well. For everybody, again, just jumping in, tuning in, we've been having a super fun conversation, super real conversation with my friend Jade Seaberry of Diverse Toons, for sure. Uh, so at this point, have you thought about or miss PR marketing, or is that still a little part of what you're doing with Diverse Toons? Do you
I mean, it's
still,
a little part because I pitch to,
yeah,
I pitch our panels
yeah,
to Comic Con, and I pitch, I pitch us to different sponsors and try to get
yeah,
us sponsorships and things like that. But no, I don't miss the clients.
got you, got you.
I mean, I still have my favorite clients that I talk to through like social media, and I keep in touch with them and stuff like that. And I keep in touch with all my old mentees, and like I go to their weddings and stuff now, and they're like growing up and having babies and stuff now, which I love. But no, I don't miss the crazy clients. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
hey, I feel you on that because I'm trying to shed a few myself, and
Yes.
those are the
Doodle
ones
Uncle
you,
Kelly from Lords of the Underground is my all-time favorite client, and he's running for mayor of Newark, and
oh,
he's in a
okay,
runoff election that's coming up. So for the West Ward. So yeah, but yeah, from hip hop to politics, and he's amazing. He's also on Respect the Jux. He's playing a cop. So
oh
yeah,
wow,
he was
okay,
one of my all time favorite clients, and we still keep in touch. And clients like that, clients that make you
yeah,
happy, that still support you.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, those are the clients I miss. But
yeah.
yeah, everybody else, nah, I'm okay. I'm okay. There's so many
Oh
crazy
man,
ones. So many crazy ones that don't make you enjoy your job. Those are the
yeah,
ones that.
yeah. Trust me, I know the feeling. I really do. They make want to wring their neck.
Uh huh.
But
Exactly.
sorry. But at any rate, like I said, we're having just a great conversation with my friend Jade here with Diverse Toons. And like I said, it's been such fun having you on the show. Really, really having a conversation about diversity and inclusion and just the state of kind of the industry as itself. Like I said, sometimes these conversations can get kind of watered down a lot of the times, and it's really refreshing when you get people that are not afraid to have these conversations because it's not like like I said, you're labeling this person as racist or that person as racist. It's just having a conversation about the state of what's going on around
Yep.
us, and that's where real change is going to come from. Um, Again, all this, all the information that I will be putting up or will be on the show notes as well. One last question though. Um, what's one piece of advice that you would like to leave with somebody?
Always tell the truth and speak your mind, then you can't go wrong. I think that's the greatest piece of advice you can always give. That will never steer you wrong.
And you guys heard that, and I always like to on a great piece of advice. That was amazing. You definitely should speak your truth and be true to yourself. That's why I love, like I say, guests like you, guests like Deborah, Andre. They're ones that aren't really afraid to speak who their mind and their thoughts about things. Um, Again, uh, make sure that you jump on Jade's social channels, connect with her in Diverse Toons. They're doing some awesome work. I'm so looking forward to doing more stuff with Diverse Toons and really, brainstorming about a lot of things that we could be doing together and with some of the other organizations out there for sure. They're on Twitter, Diverse Toons. You can find them, Diverse Toons, on Instagram and Facebook. You can connect with her on LinkedIn. She's very active on there as well. Again, all this information will be on the show notes on the channel, so make sure you hop on over there. Definitely will put Respect the Jux on there so you'll know where you can find it. Check it out and support it for sure. Um, like I said, Jade, I'm so happy that Aaron connected us because, like I said, something different about, like I said, no nonsense type of people that just really have a flair for speaking their mind and are really committed to what they're doing. And so that's why I love what Diverse Tunes is doing. I love what you're doing. And definitely want to find where we can do more stuff together because, like you, I'm definitely trying to get higher level executives on the show to really have these kind of hard conversations and deeper conversations that we should be having on here. Um,
For sure.
Everybody, like I said, this has been a super fun episode. Appreciative, Jade, again for coming on, be a part of the Color of Motion, and gracing us with your knowledge and your presence, and really sharing with us stuff that needs to be shared for sure.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you, thank you. If you could hang out in the green room for just a minute while I close out the show, would definitely appreciate it. Again, everybody, I hope everybody enjoyed it. This was fun for me, it really was. This was another one of those fun shows that I enjoyed doing and having a conversation about for sure. So I hope all of you enjoyed it. I hope everybody tuning in to the replay will enjoy it as well. Miss Deborah, I knew you would. I knew you would enjoy it, Deborah. Great discussion. Like I said, I'm gonna have. I'm seriously now thinking about having Color Emotion After Dark and having you guys on. Really, I've been really kicking it around a lot the last few episodes. So, like I said, Dre, I appreciate you, man. I know Jade and Deborah. They always bring the fire for sure, and I know you do too. That's why I had fun on your interview. So I think, like I said, we have a good group after dark
That
session.
would be hot.
I might have to put up a little sticker rated R.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, little
Disclaimer.
disclaimer. Come at your own risk for sure. But it will definitely be one of fire for sure. But appreciate everybody that's tuned in, will tune in, and always appreciate everybody that supports the show. Like I said, make sure you jump over to the links, support Diverse Tunes and what they're trying to do. Support all the groups that are organizations that are out there because it is so important. Lixa, Women in Animation, Black Women in Animation. There's so many out there. Yeah, you know, like I said, I got them upset with the question I said about you can't find anybody. There's no excuse. You can always find somebody. There's
Yes.
organizations out there that you can find, but you have to support them, be a part of them, and really get behind the mission that they're doing. So that's why it's a very important thing. Again, thank you, Jade, for being on. Please hang out for just a second while I close out the show. Everybody, help me thank my guest and friend, Miss Jade Seaberry. Diverse Toons. You see it? Diverse Toons. Support, support. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Guys, gals, like I said, this has been another fun episode. Like I said, season 2 is, just been really, really hitting it. And like I said, it's the guests and you that have made it so, so much fun. Mr. Dre, yes, all love, Mr. Dre, for sure. Appreciate you. Again, appreciate you, brother, for coming, supporting your friend Jade, supporting the show. Like I said, I have much love for you and your journey as well. Mr. Robert, appreciate you, brother, tuning in. Thanks, Jade, he says. So, as always, like I said, you guys, the guests, make it such a joy for me. And I'm so honored and privileged to be able to connect and build relationships with each other. Mr. Dre, gotta support my sis. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And I always appreciate your support in the show as well, man. Like I said, looking forward to getting you back on. Mr. Robert, appreciate you too there, brother, for sure. I appreciate everybody that, like I said, supports the show, supports all the great organizations out there, but really tries to help us get the message out there for sure. Make sure that you tune in next week because it's going to be even better show. If it could be, it's going to be better for sure. But I'm super looking forward to my next week's guest. He was, like I said, somebody that I connected with at Elixir Town Hall meeting, Mr. Carlos Caxiola, CEO of Demente Animation Studios in Mexico. They do some amazing animations. So make sure that you tune in next week to see for sure. With that, we're going to call this episode a wrap. Again, I want to thank you all for tuning in and supporting the Color of Motion and being a part of the Color of Motion family. All right, everybody have a great weekend. I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a great week, everyone.